Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We got some breaking news. We are inside of a week before week one, but the real ball knowers know the recruiting game at the college football level does not stop. It is very important to keep loading up the talent. And the Georgia Bulldogs just did that, landing Monroe Freeling, a 6'7", 285-pound offensive tackle from the state of South Carolina, the number one player in South Carolina. And this guy is extremely exciting for a multitude of reasons. Before we get into the player, take a look at some of his highlights. Again, I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support you guys have shown the channel. Love talking ball, especially with the Bulldog fans. We had them as their national champions last year. They love their football down in Athens. We appreciate you guys checking us out. If you like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Go check out our game preview that we just put out between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Oregon Ducks. Let's start talking a little Monroe Freeling. The big thing that jumps out at you, 6'7", 84-inch wingspan. When you're looking at building All-American offensive tackles, putting NFL draft picks out into the league, the frame, the size, it matters, and this kid has it. That's something you can't teach. If you could teach me to be 6'7", I'd be 6'7". I am 5'8". That's generous. Monroe Freeling is a guy with size and length that you simply can't teach, and something that is really impressive when you turn on the film with Monroe Freeling is how quick, how explosive he is out of his stance. He has a basketball background, so the plyometrics, the jumping, the power is there. He's got very, very good footwork. There's a lot to like about him. The one thing that you need to see happen, and I think most of you notice this right when you look at his recruiting profile, is he's only 283 pounds. I wouldn't worry too much about that. You see a lot of these high school kids. He's 17, maybe even 16 years old. He's a young kid that still needs to mature and grow into that body, but you love to see the coordination that he has. And he's going to put on the weight after he finishes his senior year of football at the high school level. Most likely enrolls early, as most top 100 recruits does. Even if he doesn't, you're going to see him go from 290 pounds to 310, 315 pounds really quick as you get into these top-notch strength and conditioning programs, especially the one that Georgia had. You saw what they did at the NFL Combine last year. They know what they're doing, training athletes, and Monroe Freeling, and no doubt in my mind, will grow into that body. He's a guy that probably doesn't start freshman year for the Bulldogs, especially with how talented that roster is. But he's a guy that has legitimate All-American left tackle attributes, like the length and the size. And again, 6'7", you would be fine putting weight on. You look at the kid, he's slender. You can easily put on 20 to 30 pounds and really not risk losing any of that mobility. What I want to take us to right now is his huddle, his film session, show a couple plays, show what we're dealing with, because I loved the just absolute tenacity this guy plays. When you talk about being a dog, the Georgia Bulldogs, I mean, this guy is an absolute animal. And he's a guy you want playing on your offensive line. He is a violent dude that just wants to put people in the ground. You see it on this play. Just engages with this guy, brings him right back, drives him 30 yards down the field. He's an absolute bully, and he's a guy that you want your offensive tackles. And when we're doing our scouting, like, we want to see that aggressiveness. He's a guy that wants to put people in the dirt, and you see him do that right now. And this one is an interesting one. Not a flashy play here. But look how explosive he is out of the stance with this down block. Absolutely getting after the guy. I mean, you like to see just how functional and how explosive he is. And again, it's not one of those flashy plays where he's driving the guy back 30 yards, but it's something that pops out to you as that explosiveness for a guy who's 6'7", the ability to get out of your stance. It's really impressive. Now, pulling back up Monroe Freeling's draft profile and taking a look at what Georgia's doing in this 2023 class, they've only brought in 19 commits. They're a top 6 recruiting class in the country. I expect that to go up. I mean, can't remember the last time Georgia hasn't finished with a top 5 class. They're in the running for a lot of really good prospects, and we're seeing a lot of guys flip. And a guy like Monroe Freeling helps that out a lot. Obviously, Raylan Wilson stealing him from Michigan. What I really like is this offensive line class. You have 2 offensive tackles that 6'7", 290 pounds in Monroe Freeling from South Carolina, and then Bo Hughley from Georgia. 2 guys that, again, probably aren't starting as freshmen, but 2 guys that have the potential to be straight up All-American, first-round level NFL draft picks. Honestly, in a lot of ways, like Broderick Jones, who, if you guys check out our NFL draft stuff, both my brother and I are very, very high on a guy like Broderick Jones, who kind of shares a lot of those traits. A guy that took a year to develop out of high school is now ready to rock and roll. I think Broderick Jones is going to be a stud. Monroe Freeling is going to be a guy that, yeah, he needs some work. No doubt about it. But you can't teach that 6'7" frame, the 84-inch length wingspan. He's a guy that you have to be extremely excited about as Bulldog fans. I'm going to wrap it up with that. I wanted to keep it short with you guys, do a little recruiting update on the Georgia Bulldogs. Again, if you guys do like the content, consider subscribing. We really do appreciate all the support you guys have shown. And we'll talk to y'all later. Go Dogs.